Soul Garden. Live, love, be.
Good morning! From my smartphone to yours, I'm casting love from the San Francisco Bay Area on Super Bowl weekend, on Love Fest Day, and it's Friday! Thank God it's Friday! Good morning and Namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Christopher Wadecki. My modality is psychic astrology, and my mission is to stand in my heart and help other people stand in theirs. Hello, my friends. It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday, and I'm very grateful it's Friday. I think the whole country is grateful because it's Super Bowl weekend, so for the United States anyways, it's one of those few times that we let ourselves kind of take a break from reality and just chill out. Some of our most creative work comes in the form of commercials, so America, but you see some real creativity, and it's kind of like, you know, one of the first times of a new year, our first little holiday. So it's a mini holiday. But we got a lot going on actually astrologically as well. It's not just Super Bowl in the sense of us picking that out in the United States. It is also Love Fest Day. Happy Love Fest Day. I love you. This is the most powerful day of the month to exchange love, both with ourselves and with others. And I'll be talking about that in the Zen Den, but you should be feeling the love today. And I call this a Black Rose Love Fest Day because, as you'll see in the Zen Den, I think that it's a bittersweet. Something is going to be born, a new life is born, and at the same time, I think we're all recognizing that an old life is now dead. Something is truly passing in our lives. So it's a very symbolic and frequency significant weekend. We'll talk about what I mean by frequency. But first, let's go into today's vibe. Today's vibe is sunny and bittersweet on this Black Rose Love Fest Day. I think that's due to all the energies, but mostly Pluto is the big character. Today, the Great Human Walk has progressed to step 16, Aquarius. Now, that ultimately means that we're going to go with what works, and spirit is going to be what's trying to drive that. Sometimes spiritual energy is what allows us to let go of little things that don't work and accept and embrace the things that do work. So there's a 7 going on here during the whole day. But in essence, there's also a bittersweet. I think we're opening up to a new love, and we're letting go of an old love. And this is really the whole theme of the weekend, because today's step 16, so we're opening up to what works. Tomorrow, we commit on step 17, and then Super Bowl Sunday, strangely enough, we act on that commitment and make it so. So the energy of the entire weekend is aligned with Super Bowl Sunday by nature. I mean, I think that's not an accident, you know, in the big cosmic plan of things. But also, it's kind of the same thing for yourself. You might be working up today to what works, what doesn't work, committing to it, and going for it in the Super Bowl Sunday yourself, and everyone is kind of launching this new frequency on that same day. So it's kind of this climactic weekend. So today, we're basically opening up to what works and what doesn't work. Those are the two things that we're, I think, teeter-tottering on and trying to find out. Our emotions are conservative. I feel very conservative, and that's because the moon is in Capricorn. Now, in the beginning part of this moon Capricorn, you're probably letting go of old control issues, letting go of things that, that no longer work for you. So the beginning of Capricorn, leading up to the actual love and the love fest, can be shitty, okay? Like, you're just grouchy. This is where, they say Capricorns can be queens. Well, you'll feel exactly what that means in the beginning of the transit. You'll feel like a total queen and just over it. But then the moon crosses over Venus during the course of the day, and this is the replenishing. And I've come up with this little holiday because I found that every month when the moon crosses Venus, everyone feels better. Everyone. You can just see it in strangers' faces, kids, everyone just feels good. No one knows why, and you don't even have to know it's Super Bowl Sunday this weekend to feel good. So I think we're going to feel that. Now, what we're thinking about is passion. That's what I do want to point out there. Thinking about passion, our mind is on our feelings. Mercury is at step 20 and above. So that means that, I mentioned this the last couple of days, that once Mercury gets up in these high degrees of Capricorn, you have to just sit back and see how the game turns out. So if your mind tries to keep up with every little feeling and every little nuance, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So there is a propensity for anxiety for people who can't just let it go and let it flow. But for people who do let it go and let it flow, then you can think of it kind of from a perspective of being a really great ice skater or hockey player. Yeah, it's slippery ice, but you could go fast and you can do a lot of things when Mercury hits 20 and above. And then finally, our Mars. Mars is our ego, what I affectionately call the dumbass in astrology. And so this weekend, Mars is really trying to score literally a touchdown. Mars is at step 17, Scorpio. And so what that means is that our ego is ready to enforce our absolute emotional boundaries. And I found that this is very true. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but we are all up in the frequencies of Aquarius. We're all trying to figure out where we frequent. But really the baseline is that we can either emotionally deal with something or not emotionally deal with something. And that pretty much is keeping the whole ball game in check, what we'll deal with or not deal with emotionally. So our ego is very defensive right now about what the final line is or is not, in essence, all right? So your joy quest today, with all this emotion going on, basically we're looking for what works. We're a little scatterbrained, worried about passion, and our ego is driving like the baseline home. Where do you stand in all that? Well, I think the joy quest is to accept and receive the love frequency. Really, do not pay attention to ego, mind, anything. Just find that love frequency and accept and receive it over and over and over again. Let yourself get charged and let yourself be empowered by the moon crossing over Venus. Okay, so accept the love frequency, and let's move on now to today's topic, where I'll give you a little bit of advice for the whole weekend. Today's topic is committing to higher frequencies, the soul musicians of the universe. Now, Aquarius energy is pretty much the frequency of things, and everything under what you would understand frequency falls under that. So, musical frequencies, the frequencies of an atom buzzing, inside of itself, the frequencies of the universe and the planets, how frequently does Pluto go around in an orbit, how frequently does the moon go around in orbit. Basically, how many times do things show up and show up and show up? That is Aquarius. How many times do things manifest and manifest and manifest? And one could argue that the whole universe depends on the whole universe for this wonderful reality to unfold. In other words, the universe is counting on each person to put some sort of vibration into the pot. And that's what I call the soul musicians of the universe, that we are all really musicians. We're all showing up frequently, and the universe is counting on us to show up frequently and play our little song. So let me ask you real quickly, in your 5 o'clock question, something to think about for the weekend, because this weekend we are committing to a frequency, something that we want to frequent over and over. And hopefully we're committing to a higher frequency. In other words, I've already been at this decibel. I'm going to go at a higher decibel. I want to play a higher note. I want to see how high this thing gets. So here's your question. Do you sponsor a song in the universe? Do you sponsor a song in the universe? And the follow-up is, do you play that song frequently? So by song in the universe, I mean your vibration, your song. Obviously, I sponsor a song in the universe. I play it 5 times a week. It's Namaste Today. That's one of my biggest songs, you know what I mean? And I play it, and I play it, and I play it. And I do play it frequently, mostly because I understand the nature of the universe. The nature of the universe is that anything that you want to see manifest, and anything that you want to see take off on its own in life, you must show up for frequently. So a master knows this. This is kind of where you get that old Buddhist kind of cliche where the Buddhist master is, waxing on, waxing off, waxing on, waxing off, showing up every day for that routine kind of frequency of spirit or frequency of meditation. Now, when I was studying in my early years for spirituality, I used to think that frequency was so boring. I used to think, oh God, again I have to meditate. Oh, I got to do it again. Like I just want to be over it. Until I realized that the frequency of me showing up and always playing that drum, the frequency of me always doing it, it was more the frequency of me showing up than it was any one note or any one time that I showed up. And I learned that also with my horoscopes and being on the air for 11 years now. This is my 11th year on the air. I'm proud to say I've done over 18,000 horoscopes and videos for the general public. I have shown up frequently over and over and over again. And I would say that it hasn't always been great, but I am proud that I've made it frequent. So we talked this week about being a cog in the wheel of the universe. I believe that everybody's original song is a cog in the universe. I believe that the universe is counting on me to show up and frequently do this for you. And I believe that the universe is counting on you to show up and do your song frequently for your sphere of influence. And I believe that we all make up an orchestra together, okay? And this orchestra allows us all to tune. So, a couple of things to think about for this weekend. This weekend, you're going to be committing to certain frequencies. Now, if you're in my personal sensei service, I'll be outlining for you where I think that you're making the commitments to be frequent. And from those frequent commitments in your soul biography, everything else kind of tunes around it, okay? But even if you don't know, I think people are making commitments to marriages, jobs, new moving places. So as you're thinking about this, you have to ask yourself this weekend, what song do you love to play frequently? And to recognize that you may be playing a vital role in the universe. For instance, I'll share something with you I know about animals. I know that if God didn't have birds on the planet, if there weren't birds singing, human beings would forget that they could sing over lifetimes. So God put birds on to sing to remind us, to frequently remind us that we can sing, that we have a voice. I know that cows are on the earth to keep mother's milk lactating and to keep women making milk in their breasts and to keep the milk-making process in our consciousness, and that's why cows are here. I know that eagles are here to keep an eye on the dirty rats that try to get away with things, and those are our Scorpio energies. Each one of these animals has a certain song that they sing in our nature of our universe, and their frequency keeps us all singing. So for you, what is your song in the cog of the universe? And the second question is, for you this weekend, will you commit to singing it frequently? I'll leave you with one last little idea here as you're contemplating your universe on Super Bowl weekend and what you want to frequent and what you don't want to frequent. And that's this. A lot of people don't sing in the chorus. A lot of people don't sing in church. They don't sing along with us. They sit there quietly and they watch. And I just want to let you know that it's kind of built into reality that you don't know if you're off key or out of tune unless you sing with others. So it doesn't really count till you sing along with others and notice that you're off key or out of tune. But the cool part is that harmony, which is what we'll be talking about next week, harmony is what happens when that synergy energy goes together and everyone comes into tune together because everyone sang, and they sang together frequently. All right, my friends, have a great weekend with choosing your frequency. But first, let's take a look at the planets and an affirmation for you in the Zen Den. And welcome to the Zen Den. So first, let's take 3 breaths real quickly together and harmonize our frequency, shall we? And I have a quick little affirmation for you to help you through the weekend, one to keep you on the right frequency. I hereby commit to my heart's frequencies, and so it is. I hereby commit to my heart's frequencies, and so it is. You can basically never go wrong to committing to something your heart loves. I could never come out here in the cold day after day and try to do these shows if my heart didn't love it in the end. I love it. So I don't have to think about Namaste today. I don't have to think about that. All I have to think about is what my heart feels when it's complete and I've done a good job and I'm proud of myself. So really, all you have to commit to ever is what frequency your heart. If your heart thinks of this person over and over and over again, you want to be with them. They frequent your heart. If a situation comes up that your heart loves and you want it over and over again, that's what you commit to. And when we commit to higher frequencies, that means we commit to things that our heart gets more excited at and gets more overwhelmed by. It's like, oh my God, that's a higher frequency, even more love. Holy shift. All right? So let's take a look at the planets, and I want to point out a couple things going on this weekend. And I'm just going to have the overhead projector come on by itself because I am handling this with my left hand. This is quite a little trick. Okay, the first thing to know is that it is Love Fest Day, and that comes down from the moon crossing over Venus. So today, during the course of the day, Venus is at step 15. Step 15 is being mindful of our heart. So it is at the Grandmaster step of Love Fest, on Love Fest. That is so beautiful, right? We were hoping. And today that means that you will feel replenished. Now, what's interesting to point out is right after the moon crosses over Venus, the moon crosses over Pluto. That's why I call this one the Black Rose Love Fest Day, because upon saying yes to something, you're going to have to say no to something almost immediately. And that's kind of how it is, I think, when we switch channels or change things in life. Really, there's not room for two manifestations at once. So whatever you say yes to with your heart, you're going to be saying no to an old you. You're going to be saying goodbye to something. Something's going to be dying. And it's a bittersweet love fest for the weekend. Excuse me. So Mercury is the other part of this. Mercury is at step 20 up in Capricorn. And Mercury is making us think about what we feel. Step 20 is I feel, and the 0 is I protect. So right off the bat, I just want to say that everyone may think that they are feeling out of sorts. You may think that your feelings are freaking out, but that's what you're thinking. So you really want to make some distinctions between what you're thinking and what you're actually feeling, because the mind is really set up to make a lot of drama this weekend that doesn't exist. So if the mind goes and starts thinking about something that's not really true to where you are right now, you could get carried away very easily. And I would say, yes, people can get carried away drinking too much this weekend. People get carried away with their thoughts anywhere. And conversation, watch your tongue in that sense. Then lastly, I want to point out the sun. The sun is, of course, at step 16 on Friday. So that means that we are opening up to what works. 6 is the go and flow of things. On Saturday, we move to step 17, which is where you'll be committing to a certain frequency. And on Sunday, we're at step 18, which means we commit and act on that frequency. So I want you to know that no matter what you're feeling in this Love Fest, if you're making a decision that you are going to go ahead and, join the Peace Corps, and you are going to leave college, or you are going to go ahead and leave this spouse and run away with your secretary, or whatever it is that people are contemplating, this bittersweet Venus, I want you to know that you don't really have to tell anyone or act on it until Sunday. In fact, early Monday morning is Lightcast Day, which means that we don't really manifest and commit to these frequencies until early Monday morning. So this whole weekend is an exploration of what should stay, what should go, and committing to it Saturday, acting on it Sunday, and basically if you sleep for a full cycle and wake up Monday, the new program has assimilated into the matrix, okay? And you will be finding yourself on that course. The very last thing I'm going to point out is Jupiter. Jupiter has retrograded to step 21 when it starts to get fun, and that means that over the weekend, people will be subscribing to a new belief or new philosophy. Radical reality will not change so much in front of your eyes. In fact, just so you know, no matter what it is that you commit to over the weekend, no matter what it is the frequency you commit to, you won't really see the dramatic effects of that decision until after we're in Aries. Okay, we have a solar eclipse in Pisces and a lunar eclipse in Aries still coming up this spring to kind of follow these commands out. So again, don't expect immediate turnaround, but realize we are now subscribing to a whole new channel, Batman, at a whole new bat time. All right. Well, friends, I will leave you to have a fantastic Super Bowl weekend. Happy Love Fest Day. Know that I love you. And I'll be, of course, holding a San Francisco Love Fest on Saturday. If you haven't seen the link, it is just by the side of Namaste Today in soulgarden.tv. There's a link there. we'll be meeting up, just a few of us having clam chowder and coffee. And in 2 weeks, I'll be in LA, and I'll be posting that later. So there'll be plenty of time. But commit to the frequency of your heart that you want to frequent. Commit to being a song in the universe. And I look forward to harmonizing and being in tune with you. Remember, I love you, friends, and live, love, be.
So